What you're seeing is one of my recent Live2D projects. I've asked for permission to show this from the project leader, and as the purpose for using as my tutorial teaching material, a case study. And what this project is, it's called Idol City. It's a project based in Taiwan, and the project aims to develop a new form of performing arts. So here's a link to the original, the official website, and also here's a link to the original character artist, Jinko. So what you're seeing right here is a bunch of new experimental elements that I've, some of them I come up with my own, some of them I was inspired by the Korean artist Kim Hyung-tae. He was the ex-art director of Blade and Soul, and he's currently working on a app game that is also Live2D based, and the app game is called Destiny Child. The company is called Shift Up. You can check out their work. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, I sort of use my own methods to remake his style of animation, and this is a result of it. So let's jump into Animator, and we'll go into Viewer, and we'll go into Rake to see how things are working on so far. This is currently still a project in development, but I got something to show you in order for you to understand where my tutorial is leading you towards. Because I think it's kind of confusing that suddenly I'm teaching you how to move black squares into red boxes. You know, it's like things are going backwards. But really, we need to stick to the fundamentals. I want to build some solid principles in your knowledge, and that's how it enables you to become innovative in 1, analyzing other people's work, 2, coming up with your own methods for problem solving when you start to get involved with your own indie projects. So let's go ahead and jump into Animator. So here we are at Animator, and you can check out this part, the parameters, and these are parameters individually working in real time. So you got the basic face, angle X and angle Y, you got the angle Z moving like that, you got the eyes open and closed for the blinking, and we got a bunch of other stuff that I made of myself. These are original parameters, and these are what control all these background things happening. And I've never played with special effects before, but it was pretty fun in this project, and I will do a case study on this later onwards. Not now because it's going to be too much, but yeah, you can have an idea of, ultimately we're just still using that one mechanic in Animator, all right? It's always going to be one red dot moving back and forth the perimeter, and that's all it has. But with that mechanic, that soul mechanic, we can do all kinds of crazy stuff. But the requirement is that you gotta understand all the basics of Live2D by heart, all right? And also we can look at the, here we go. This is the timeline. You can also see all these red dots are actually keyframes where we sort of key in the end points or the key points of the motion. And what you're seeing right here is these are all the things that make up to this 23 seconds of animation, and that's Animator for you. So let's get into Viewer. So this is Live2D Viewer, and you are looking at the model's MOC file, and this time we have the physics demonstrated to you. As you can see, as I drag her move left or right, you can see her all these elements moving like there's physical property. So there's the chain over here, the belt, the bust, the necklace right here, the bracelet, phone strap, and the mascot, and the lights around the mascot. Also the boots and the accessories right here. And of course the hair, right? And when these all physics are all in, then when you play the motions, they would look more smooth and more energetic. All right, so that is Animator, and we can take a look at Rake. So here's a footage of me testing out face rake with my model, and I'm still getting a hang of face rake. I don't have a lot of experience with it. I still haven't got the motion working yet, but I got the basics in. So you got the mouth talking, you got the eyes blinking, you got it facing left and right, and also it's sort of a coincidence, but I did manage to make its body move along as the head moves. So it gets a little bit like, it brings back that floaty motion that my model essentially wants to have, right? So we got that in, and we'll get to face rake eventually, but let's hang on to that for now, and we will go back to the basics. I still haven't answered the question, why does moving black squares into red box have anything to do with the ultimate goals that we're trying to achieve? There's these models that I'm showing right now. Well, it's from my own experience that when I shift from a hobbyist to someone who is actually taking in commission works, I realized that as a hobbyist, all you need to know is a standard routine of making the eye blink, the head move, and you just learn the basics, but all you can do is the basics. Where in reality, when you really start to take in jobs and face real challenges, right? It's you got to face way more challenges than making that standard model. And although the client will just tell you, yeah, that's standard model, the same thing I want from the official samples, that's all I want. Still, it's never going. I'm just gonna let you know, in reality, it's never going to be just the same. All right. So what it makes from professional or from hobbyist to professional is that, first of all, you need to hack stuff. You need to hack your own methods out of the basic methods. All right. And you got to be creative in problem solving. And if you don't have the fundamentals, you cannot imagine new methods to solve the same problem, to achieve the same thing with extra restrictions. Because we are working with indie projects. Indie projects always come with restrictions, always come with the lack of supportive materials or resources. It's never enough, and it's up to you as a Live2D animator to figure it out what you're missing. That official samples, when they make those, obviously they get a full team of artists to do, and all kind of supportive materials, and they're all like art school students from the start, right? But I'm not, and maybe you're not art school students, and we don't have animation skills. How do we solve problems on that point? Do we go to art school and like take a performance course and learn the basics? But how's it going to work? So how do we problem solve with our limitations, with our own limitations and the limitations of the project itself? Obviously, limited budgets, and when the project has limited budgets, right, you also have limited time and resource to do things. So being cost efficient is also one of the skills required to be a professional. You got to figure out your own way to do the same thing faster and more effective and more precise. And obviously, what the hard part is? The hardest part is not making the same mistakes. Because each time you make a mistake, you won't figure out immediately, but later on, you send the whole package over to your client, and the client will tell you, hey, how come, why the hands are falling off the shoulders, and then you realize your whole rig is messed up. The whole structure, deformers and rotational deformers are not linking up correctly, and you cause yourself a unsolvable conflict with those deformers. Ultimately, you got to redo the whole structure yourself, and without experience, without proper art school lessons, it comes really often, and you don't know how to solve them. But what my course is trying to offer is that you will learn the basics so solid, and I will give you even like challenges, exercise, right? And you're gonna solve them, and you're gonna make mistakes because those are gonna be tricky questions. They're gonna be like some obvious pitfalls everyone falls into, and you will learn from that. You'll get used to cleaning up your own mess and redo things over and over, and that's where you get yourself trained to not break down when you take in the real projects. All right, don't worry. Even for like my current projects, right? I always in the prototype development, I at least redo the same model 5 times before I come up with the prototype. I'm not even talking about the final product. I'm talking about a prototype, a blueprint that the whole project can base on, because we're not making just one character, we're making a bunch of them, right? So all the characters have to use the same rig, the same structure. They might have to do different features, but you gotta base on the same rig. Or else, if you have a different rig for each of them, obviously your time cost is too high. Either the project cannot afford to pay you, or you gotta, invest your own free time or sleep time in order to get things done with your deadlines. So it's always going to be tough. You'll make mistakes, but if you got the foundations and you're used to cleaning up your own mess, then you'll be ready for taking commission works. So please be patient. We'll get there. We'll get to what you're seeing right now, but you got to stick to the basics. And we will start from there. We will hard drill those, some principles of Live2D into your hearts. And you hold on to them, and whenever you're lost, you hold on to them, and you get back on track. All right? So I'll see you guys next lesson.